are off.
Very excited to see what they have.
Yeah, so guys, legal officials have confirmed.
Alright, and this should be actually the most contentious match for this group. This is where the real fight is. RNG's guaranteed to, pretty much getting near guaranteed to take top of Group A, unless we start getting some major throws and upsets. So Pennet GG versus Unicorns of Love here. Unicorns of Love with their 1 win over PGG so far, and this is going to be where Pentanet can start. Needs to start fighting back. Needs to start finding their way into making their hopes a reality, and making at least the chances of getting out in the top 2 position possible.
Targeted towards Pabu. Did play it twice in the LCO.
And you are going to snag up the Udyr, not letting the Lilia or the Rumble come through, so limiting at least 2 of the AP junglers, but still leaving the Morgana available. And there, so Pabu's going to grab that up.
You can use an Udyr at the highest level play is great, and he's picked it even over the Morgana that Pabu now is able to pick up.
Yeah, that's the thing, you know, some of the question marks have been in here for the Unicorns of Love tonight in terms of the pick ban, and, you know, giving a lot over to RNG in the last game. This time around, they're going to prioritize the Udyr over the Morgana, and that's a move that a lot of people will kind of, you know, shake their head and wonder, you know, what's going on with that one. But it just seems like an Honestly wants to go for this.
Definitely curious about that.
Maybe feels more comfortable on this one.
Prioritization. Boss gonna take the Jace.
Red side, that is
countering acting Biopanther's Gnar. And see how well he does.
Will respond with the Jace.
It would be pretty aggressive of Unicorns Love to take away Chaz's Ahri here this early on in the draft. Maybe even a shout out there with the hover. They will take away the Kai'Sa, which I think is a much stronger pick in this case. And Chaz responds. Chaz responds with the Kassadin hover. A lot of love being shown in this draft, but I do like the response. Oh, don't even.
Don't even. You bring in that Katarina in here like that.
One of the reasons why, you know, in our region we see Gnar picked a lot.
Oh, I think they're doing it. Yeah, they're doing it. So Samira making, I think, her debut appearance here at MSI.
Samira is locked in. Didn't think we'd be seeing a whole lot of her in this tournament, Valdez. With the nerfs that she's received, she did get buffed back up a little bit recently too, but it's a hard time to be Samira. One of the changes, you know, to her ultimate. It's hard to survive those team fights and actually get the bang for your buck that she has given, you know, around release. We saw early this year.
Yeah, for sure. I guess just with the pool that was left available, you know, the Varus and the Tristan already taken off the board, they just say, well, let's go ahead and throw the Samira in this time around. As the Kai'Sa, of course, taken here for loaded in this game. As now we're going to go ahead and ban a bunch more supports. So the Braum and the Rel will be taken off the board here.
The Rel, one of the most common pairings, of course, for, you know, that bot pick Samira. You're going to have such great synergy with the Magnet Storm and the Inferno Trigger. And it's just really easy to set up for big value with those 2 heroes, or those 2 champions, rather, together in the bot side. And when you have an oppressive stun like that,
what's up, little map, Bubby? It's just you and me this morning.
That does want a team fight, right? You have the Gnar. You're looking for those really powerful.
Oh, jeez, I'm super late on that.
5v5s. You don't want something like a Rel to be able to make that all
That's
the
unfortunate.
easier. And we'll see the Nautilus ban to follow.
Yeah, and it's pretty interesting because Decoy, definitely known as a support that he loves to play engage supports. A lot of them are.
Yeah, we're just gonna have a chill stream for it.
So,
it's Saturday morning.
Left with here? We have the
I was up late.
Right? But
I'm
we
tired.
haven't really seen too much of him in this tournament for a pretty good reason. They're hovering the Swain, and now the Galio. I think the Galio actually
He's still there, Matt Bobby.
But actually, there is the Rakan. So Decoy this time around gonna be hopping back on the Rakan. He was actually 3-0.
I guess I'm not.
So
I guess I'm not.
Unfortunate. Just yet.
That's a really strong pick for Decoy, but I do have concerns about how well it's going to be able to function around some of these objective fights, right? In our last game for Unicorns of Love, they didn't really get to play any of those objective fights on their terms because they were, of course, just so outclassed by RNG. But in this game, when you have vision control almost guaranteed with the
We're going to find out here, but is this Galio going to be a supportive mid lane?
With this pick, so I'm a little bit concerned about how much the Rakan is going to be able to get done around those objectives unless Pentanet GG have a pretty big advantage to start things off. It'll be the Galio.
I think it's going to be, yeah. It's going to be a support Galio, the taunt able to really counter out and keep Rakan from engaging, at least threaten Rakan from engaging.
Yeah, in the mid lane, just kind of mostly ignored in terms of the bans here.
And No Man's taking the Victor. It's a little bit of AFK farming there for about 30 minutes.
But switches it up last second.
This might be the one game these teams are going to be able to get late enough on similar footing to their opponent and actually be able to show off their team fighting prowess.
You know, stave that off here in this game. I'm curious to see what they are going to finish off their draft.
And Chaz taking the Lee Sin again. Still not positive on this one.
You'd have to imagine here for Chaz.
Definitely going to be in the mid lane here for Chaz, and it's a very aggressive pick, but the problem I see with this Lee Sin pick is if you want to play it aggressively, if you want to try to get advantages against this ranged Victor, you're going to have to put yourself in a very vulnerable position against Ananasik, who's going to be roaming around. He has a very easy gank setup here. Even with the Orianna, it might have been easier to get kills there, but with the Victor, if you do kind of flirt with danger with this Lee Sin pick, you might get punished. You might find yourself falling behind early, and that is absolutely not what you can do with a composition like this. That needs to be powerful in the mid game. When you're running the Lee Sin, if you're running a more scaling mid laner, you could be okay with a little bit more passive play in the mid lane against something like an Udyr, but in this case, I think you really need to get that early edge. You need to fight with those power spikes for Samira early, and this is going to have to be Penta.GG controlling that early game, but you have to be really respectful of Ananasik's Udyr here, and that's the big hole, I think, in their draft.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. As you mentioned, you know, it's not the safest kind of pick to come out here, as you see the eyes are given there through the sunglasses between the coaches. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they can actually pilot it this time around with the Lee Sin into the mid lane. Love this meta, at least. The fact that we can get Lee Sins in the mid lane. I'm kind of sick of Victor versus Orianna every game, so to be honest, you know, regardless of how this does turn out, it should be pretty entertaining to see if Chaz can kind of hold his own there on a very volatile mid pick.
Yeah, it is going to be interesting to say the least, and we'll see how he performs, because if it is a great performance and he gets an early lead, you end up getting a position where he can fight very early, can help control some of those lanes. Then you have the Samira pick that's going to explode when she hits level 6, and later on when she gets her Infernal Shield Bow online. Or Immortal Shield Bow, not Infernal. Depends on who you're talking about, I guess. That Infernal Shield Bow, she's always getting. So we'll see how their mid-game shakes up. Obviously, the Gnar is going to be great for late-game engages, but feels like there's a bit of a identity problem between the top part of this draft and the bottom.
Oh, they're going to go through, clear this board.
Unicorns of Love, of course,
get that initial hold on to boss, so
still looking for their first
looking good.
win. The only win that the Unicorns of Love do have, of course, was over Pentanet. So seeing if they can, you know, double that effect at least. And this group isn't over for these two teams, at least. We were seeing in the interview with Ming, of course, that RNG now 4-0 in a group with 3 teams. They're on to the next round, right? You have to get top 2 in your group to make it. So with that, they basically secure it. But for these two teams, anything can happen. If Pentanet GG come out here with a win, they're going to be tied up. And then it's really anybody's game for who's going to get that second slot in Group A.
Exactly. So that's, I mean, if you consider that RNG has already gone 4-0, you know, the wins that you're going to get against your opponent here for either of these teams are so much more important. Great trade here for Boss. But yeah, I mean, these are the matches that are the ones you absolutely
Boss really using that burst to deny Biopanther's ability to trade back here.
More power to you.
I'm going to get a lot of damage out onto him.
As Jace ends up being obviously a very strong counter pick to the Gnar, can bully him in this early part of the game, as you're seeing here. It's a champion that's one of the reasons why a lot of teams will not prioritize Gnar this early in the draft, because it's just so easy to respond.
I mean, you and I, as LCK casters, we didn't see a lot of, you know, first pick Gnars. There were some teams that would do it when they were very confident in their top laner to play in certain matchups. But we have so many powerful carry top laners that can be a little bit risky in our region, at least. And you see that Biopanther tries to pull it out already. Boss, obviously a great laner in his own right, is looking to put on the pressure, as he should in this matchup.
Yeah, Boss himself plays a lot of Gnar, so definitely understands the matchup very well, and might be part of the reason why they prioritized it early, just want to guarantee that they'd have it themselves. But obviously you pay the price, you know, in terms of this early game matchup in the lane. And, you know, in terms of clear speed in the jungle, you know, very few can actually... Oh, Chaz.
he's looking for it. I mean, the early
Chaz being cheeky
game trading from the Victor is
the
not
in and
gonna
out.
be easy for the Lee Sin to handle. Obviously, his second W can help him get a bit of that
Well,
life back.
Lodic and Santos looking to actually interrupt Pabu here on his jungle clear. And it's going to be a big problem here for Pabu.
Of Santos on the Galio, and is able to get that reset off at least, as the Morgana always loves to put these two camps together and just AoE them down. That will also, with this priority, allow Ananasik to come in here and pick
But
up
Nanasik's coming in here to play contest here. Santa's going to push away Decoy, but not in time. Pabu's going to be able to get it.
Scuttle Crab could have been much worse for Pentanet GG, and they handled it pretty well. And this is where I'm talking about where you don't want to be as Chaz. This is a great route, though, because otherwise you're in an insane danger zone, right? Like, Pabu has to be nearby. But if you're being aggressive like this against a Udyr, you can be punished very, very easily. So Pabu kind of has to babysit now for just a moment. And very well played.
Yeah. I like kind of the
I'm trying to get this wave pushed in here.
It looks like a 2v2, it looks silly, but actually what's going on, he's trying to push as fast as possible to secure the top scuttle, right? They want to make sure that Chaz
doesn't get that.
With the push,
Cannon minion.
From the Morgana, so that the two of
Super
them
sad.
can rotate over and secure the scuttle for Pabu.
Neither of them get the cannon.
So they're able to do that. Obviously, Lee Sin, he's got some extra wave clear on the buff to his E, a couple of extra seconds on that one, and so they're able to push in that lane very fast and secure that for Pentanet.
You can see things have kind of started to swing the other way in terms of the pendulum that is this top lane as well. The prio there makes it a lot easier to guarantee that they're able to get that scuttle. So really nice macro play here from Pentanet GG. Ananasik here going to go steal away the chickens here, take some extra gold and remove that from the Morgana, and also kind of stay near Nomans here.
Okay,
Chaz going is going to get stunned up here. Nemesis is going to be able to get some damage back onto him, so pretty good trade.
Almost always will have a way to get out of things as long as you have a minion wave coming in or a ward.
And Nasa just crossing over. I think he's going to head for Dragon at this point.
It's scary, you know, the deficit.
Or are they looking to just fight for this Gromp? He's passing for the Gromp. He's got to know the timing on it. He's going to be there just as it spawns, and Unicorns love making an entire play out of this. Pabu's going to be able to witness this. He's going to have a spell shield, so Bear Stun's not happening, but that's already gone here. Taunted up here. I don't think Decoy was aware of what I was going to deal with the taunt from Santos, just stuffing that entire engage here. Prey's going to come through and grab another. The ult is available, but he's only level 4.
Able to get zoned away, but Santos actually able to flash over the wall and escape himself, so turns into a 1-for-1, but also able to steal a camp there on the side of the Udyr. Not so bad at the end of the day.
Yeah, not so bad indeed. And you can look at the level lead here as Noman's actually hitting 6 first. He's just been untouched here in this mid lane. And even though it's a 1-for-1 trade, it could have been much worse for Pentanet GG. I feel like the growing issue is going to be this Victor that ends up scaling up so well. Take a look at this new Axe Effect replay and how this all breaks down. Ananasik just barely gets taken out here by Predath. Ends up being a 1-for-1. Meanwhile, the top side.
Oh, here we go. The Predator Morgana. This is what you're looking for.
Oh, here it comes through here. The bind's not going to land, so Boss could be able to get away from that.
Be forced to flash out of that fight. Nice little gank timing there from Pabu, but this does.
That's going to leave Ananasik available to come down and secure their first strike.
At least his chickens cleared. Will just run towards that Infernal Drake and look to take this down very early.
Yeah, there's just nothing that Pentanet GG can do about this at this stage. You know, right now, Predath went back, so it's going to be a flash for a Drake, and the longer the game goes on, obviously the Drake is going to be more valuable. Meanwhile, Chaz making a big rotation over here. They're going to steal away this blue, and they are just abusing Boss now on the top side of the map. Flashless, there's not much he could do. He's just going to have to sit there for a moment and then back as soon as possible once that wave is cleared.
It's actually not half bad there for Pentanet. They're able to get that rotation in and steal a couple of the buffs. Now looking to get in there onto the Udyr. At least they're able to push him away. As you can see, Nomans is also looking for blood here. He wants a fight, but now with Biopanther looking to rotate on down, and Pabu's got his ultimate and flash available. He's going to go in for that one. And
Flash available. Noman's going to get kicked away here and dove on top, and Chaz is going to be able to get the cleanup kill.
He does not even use his flash. That is going to be just a straight up kill, going the way of the Lee Sin.
Very clean here from Pentanet GG, and this is starting to look like a game where they can really get firm control over things. Meanwhile,
oh, the Tut's going to come through and actually really step this whole engage here.
Up there and deny any further
Prey and Decoy looking for something, but it's going to end up being traded against their favor.
Yeah, he's got level 6 now, so those trades become a lot more scary on the side of Unicorns of Love. But, you know, something that we haven't really talked about too much, it's really come into play here, is how well Pabu has been able to stay around the mid lane, and some of those vulnerable moments where it feels like maybe Ananasik is actually going to get the upper hand just hasn't been the case, because Pabu has been here, right time, right place, every single moment where things look dicey. In this case, BioPanther is rotated all the way down. They're going to end up getting a kill, but Pentanet GG have used the fact that Pabu's got the spell shield to make Chaz virtually invincible in a lot of these exchanges. It's kind of a weird interaction you don't normally get with junglers. They have that extra shield, they have the ability to stop that CC, and the Udyr pick just doesn't feel as threatening as long as he's aware and is hovering in that mid lane, which he's been doing a great job of.
Yeah, the positioning of the flash as well, just to separate the two of them and force Ananasik to back away. I mean, he couldn't run in there, especially 2v3, so good vision control in the top river and a fantastic look and play there from Pabu. Actually looking to put the carry pants on this time around. The one thing, though, is that although Ananasik is down on farm, he got the Infernal Drake, he also got the Rift Herald, and now he's looking to put pressure up on the top side.
It's going to be a dive here onto BioPanther. He's going to be able to jump out of this. Stunzide is going to get sent out of his jump here. He's going to have to run away, get out from the turret's protection, but that Phoenix Stance is going to be able to land it, and the knockup's going to hit onto Lodic. He's going to cleanse himself out here and dash away. This is taking a lot of time and a lot of turret damage. No one's going to die to the dive here. Santa's just going to hang out underneath. And Pabu looking to engage on it. He's going to eat the turret shots, and they're going to be able to get another one out.
As well. The one thing Unicorns of Love do get, at least, is the top lane turret.
They're going to get the turret, and they're going to try to maybe look for more here, because they know there was a huge commitment, and it was so late. You know, that fight in the bottom side, that skirmish took so long. Sure, they get the kills, but they are going to get an extra charge here on this Rift Herald. A lot of extra pushing power. That turret gold on the bottom side of the map for the plates just isn't going to be the same amount of value here for Pentanet GG, but power to him for the attempt, right? You have to do something when your top laner is getting dove like that. They're able to trade back on the map.
Yeah, and immediately, just like this, I mean, we've got a pretty even game at this point in time, right? There's a lot of macro gold, a lot of objective gold over to the side of Unicorns of Love, but some of the individual plays, the micro plays that have been made by Pentanet GG in this game, just picking up straight up kills and this fantastic dive in the bottom side as well. They're definitely holding their own this time around.
They certainly are. You can see how well this was handled too from Unicorns of Love. You see the punch come through. There's just only so much that Santas can do. The waves are crashing. There's nothing to rely on here. But he does buy a lot of time for that top push to get extra value. Meanwhile, in live,
yeah, it's kind of crazy that we're only 11 minutes into the game. I feel like, oh wow, there's some available. Okay.
It's a very fast-paced early game between these two teams. And, you know, we are also seeing a lot of value out of this Morgana. You know, it feels like for the longest time, Udyr has had such a fast clear speed. He's the one who's the king of engages. He's always able to threaten lanes. He's always able to get that assist count really high. It's actually Pablo who's been right place, right time. Like I said before, in these ganks, he's actually up 20 CS at the moment. Has those 4 assists. He's 100% kill participation. He's the most valuable player in this game so far. And that Morgana pick is certainly looking strong.
Yeah, it's great to see him finally pop off in a game like this on a current meta jungler as well. Really cool to see how well practiced he is on this Morgana. A big grinder himself, always loves to talk about how
he's gonna get the catch on over there. Jump over out of the dragon to try to mess with Santos, but
play has been stellar here in this game.
Not enough follow. And teleport's coming in. Oh, Lodic's been isolated. That is not where you want your ADC to be. That needs to be with the team. Good poke out from Boss.
As the dragon is going to reset and make things more difficult for PGG to just take this down. In goes Chaz, Pabu in the pit as well. And it looks like Unicorns just going to let that one go. Pretty close there on the Seeker from the Kaisa, but not enough. And that will be the Mountain Drake going over to Pentanet.
Yeah, you mentioned, I mean, it's
Unicorns of Love now with positioning on this mid turret.
Fight that battle, right? And you know, he's just kind of
be able to get some turret play damage.
It's a 5v4 fight you can't take as Unicorns of Love, unfortunately. They're going to try to get something done here in the mid lane as the Drake gets taken, but ends up being traded now. Chaz going to get a lot of extra gold on the bottom side of the map, but it feels like this is just a game of trades in terms of objectives. You know, every time there's a commitment somewhere, there's one player or multiple on the other side of the map, even potentially even in some of these exchanges where they're getting value elsewhere. And it feels like Pentanet GG are just trading up those slightly in terms of these kills. The problem is, does their comp scale as well into the late game? They have a really nice team fighting comp, but this Victor is going to become a problem the longer the game goes on. We talked about Noman's liking to play more aggressive champions, but this is one of the ones he's been playing a lot recently in this meta. It's his favorite control mage, and he's had a very stable game.
Yeah, looking very comfortable himself outside of the one time that all of Pentanet, it felt like, came into the mid lane and just kind of messed things up for him. Nanasik has been relentless on the counter engage, or the counter jungling essentially, yeah. Right? He's getting and he's stealing as many camps away as possible from the Morgana, because as the Udyr, you have so much movement speed, you can kind of just dodge that first binding and just kind of get in the face of the Morgana and say, yeah, these camps are going to be mine. So he's been looking for a lot of those plays. He's still down 20 CS though. So.
Yeah, he really is. I mean, he's trying to find what he can in this game. I mean, what he doesn't, I mean, the Morgana clear time is so insanely fast. I mean, that's what I was saying earlier. It feels like no one could really rival Udyr for a very long time, but the Morgana is definitely popping up as one of those big new jungle picks that's very high prio right now in MSI. Bit of a surprising one. I don't think anyone would have said that something like that would have happened early on in the year, but big changes, big patches across regions, you know, across this year of international play, or rather play around the world. You know, sometimes you see a champion pop up in one region. In this case, this champion's popped up when we have all the regions in one place, and it's cool to see. And Pablo's doing great on it so far. You know, he's made such a huge impact for Pentanet GG just with his game sense, being at the right place at the right time, and really helping Chaz out in this mid lane.
Yeah. Some interesting plays there from the Unicorns of Love bottom lane, actually putting on a bit of a soft freeze, you know, a little one. They kept the 3 ranged minions alive, and they kept the wave on their side of the lane as, you know, it didn't amount to anything. It didn't pull Pentanet close enough to get an engage going, but it was pretty cute to see, at least. As now, Pentanet GG saying, well, you got the first Herald. Let's try to get the second one. We're feeling confident right now in our position in this game.
Boss, meanwhile, pushing bottom, so he is not here. He has teleport, but he's getting a lot of value the longer the skirmish goes on.
Yeah.
Gets a whole turret.
Oh, turret's going to come in here from Boss here. This is going to be a fight. They're going to have to jump on and go really quick here. Santa's going to be chunked out. And Nanasek trying to run away from it, but Chaz is right behind him, and they're trying to play fancy here. Biopets is going to be there for the Gnar to put 2 of them into the wall. Santa's going to go in, but I don't think they'll be able to even get any kills back here. And it's going to be a 3-4-none, and Pentanet also take the Herald.
Noman's just caught between a rock and a hard place there. Santos tries to go in and save the fight. He's desperate. He's trying to make anything happen he can. He wants to turn it. He has a
that was a
huge
3.
opportunity when everybody's stacked up like that, but it is just too
catch onto Noman's.
And it felt like Unicorns of Love just spreading themselves a little bit too thin, trying to start this Rift Herald while also having Boss push a turret. He teleports
Where does Noman's end up?
He's here, the fight is practically over.
Noman's trying to actually turn back here onto Biopanther, and now he's caught right there with a Nanasik. The whole team's on the other side of the ridge.
There's just no way for this fight to be turned around. Santos tries his best, okay, to turn it, but it's not going to happen. And Sunglasses down now.
Yeah,
taking a closer look.
Speaking of guns, oh, there they are.
Finger guns.
Out tonight from the coach. Nice to see. And he's got to be really happy. And keep in mind that whole engage began with one small binding, right? Comes in, locks you down for what feels like an eternity, basically was, and Santos just has to flash away. Doesn't really
I feel like the Galio could have actually ulted into that situation a lot sooner to
is kind of all alone.
help spread it. And oh boy, Nanasek gonna get caught on here. Prey just ulting out here, but Nanasek just thick enough to get through here. The turtle stance providing that shield.
At least they push him off the turret, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, Chem Tank's still very good. He's still able to get out of there. Lives with a sliver of health, and unfortunately this kind of neuters the entire game plan of Pentanet GG. They grouped up looking for a pick and looking for that Rift Herald getting insane value. Doesn't happen. And
but
in fact, it's actually Noman's
consolation prize on the dragon.
On the top side of the map for free.
Yeah, at least they do get that.
And more shadowing. Yep, Noman's gonna back off top side.
Away the jungler and pick up the
Let's
objective.
see.
As you mentioned, I feel like Noman's response was really great. He said, well, there's not much doing about that, Drake. I guess I'll just try to get some value elsewhere on the map. And he's just trying to get as farmed as possible. But you can see the enemy mid laner at this moment in time has a bounty.
Mythics online for everyone but the supports.
This Lee Sin's getting pretty scary in this game as well.
Leandry's a good standard pick for Morgana. Get that tormented. It's not even. It's like tormented shadow now instead of tormented soil.
You know, Lee Sin can kick them away. You can get a burst kill almost instantly on basically anybody who is on this side of Unicorns of Love, right? Anybody who gets caught with that amount of CC. But the scaling in terms of the damage that Nomads is going to have in the late game fights is pretty insane. We saw he was actually, I think, the #1 damage dealer in that last
And while this Victor, Noman's Victor is going to be a giant damage threat later on into the game, he's got to be able to at least keep the position of these team fights, even if not advantageous for Unicorns of Love. Because if he gets caught out again in the middle of a fight, I don't have a lot of hope that Unicorns of Love are going to be able to win that fight.
Yeah, we'll see if they can use the carry power they've got in their pocket.
Chaz, they're going to go in here on Boss. Oh, but Boss, very prepared, very ready to take that fight, and Chaz, with a little bit of egg on his face for that play, did not think
yeah,
it was going to go that way.
An exchange that you don't like to see if you're a fan of Chaz. You know, ends up looking like maybe he can just 100-0 there, but it's not going to happen. Boss trades it back. You could see Boss on camera there for just a moment, almost looked puzzled. The fact that would happen. Very calm and collected after he gets the kill. Pablo, nice route there.
Gonna take out the ward here, trying to get this control here, trying to shadow Noman's, and oh, they might be able to steal him a red buff.
Got that Predator rolling, but he's not able to move.
Smite secured by Nanosec, so not on the ideal candidate, but still going to be taking it. And they're going to go back in here for Pabu's Gromp. Pabu about to have some trouble here. And the storm comes out, chunks him out, and forces the flash.
And that is going to be another nice win there, at least for the mid and jungle duo from Unicorns of Love.
Yeah, I mean, getting
and that flash is going to be down for the next Drake.
This fight once again. Both level 12, they take the blast plant together, but you can see Boss just has way too much burst between the two forms. Yeah, just a miscalculation there from Chaz.
Yeah, I mean, you can see his items, and I would assume they were finished at that time of the fight. I mean, it's Eclipse and the Mana Moon. It's you're going to burst down anybody, and you take a look at the items of the Lee Sin, he's got no armor.
No armor.
It's basically a wet piece of toilet paper in that fight, and it kind of looked that way by the end of it. Even though he does a nice amount of damage himself, it's not quite the same.
Yeah, I mean, it's just unfortunately what the Eclipse is going to do for you in that situation. And I'm starting to be a little bit concerned about, you know, some of the tools that Pentanet GG are going to need to use to set up for potentially picks in this fight, right? Like, the longer the fight goes on, as long as Nomads is alive and able to do damage, as long as Boss is able to poke and chip away, it looks like the team fights should favor them unless there's a great engage, unless you see that binding, which is going to be harder to pull off now that Pabu doesn't have flash, unless you see that really great Gnar ult coming through or a wall up into the wall. There are ways where this goes well for Penta GG, but it's going to have to, a lot of it rely on vision control, and that's so difficult to make happen against the Udyr. He's actually down in vision score right now in this game by 10. Very rare to see a Udyr down on vision score, but Pablo has been, like I said, MVP. Still 100% involvement in kills here.
Yeah.
7-for-7.
It's pretty cool you mention it because it's kind of like everything the Udyr is supposed to be good at. You know, vision control, farming,
still trying to keep it together here.
He's losing a lot of those aspects here in this game, so I suppose at least he's taking enemy camps, but that's not quite enough to catch up here, but still Unicorns of Love enjoying a bit of a lead. Obviously, some of that macro gold they got very early on and some of the extra turrets that they do have in this game are helping them out. I feel like their CS scores are much better as well when you do take a look at them down at the bottom.
Yeah.
So they have been able to shore up a lot of that gold.
Oh, good chunk there on the Pabu. Good poke starting out here. Ake is coming up soon.
Which is actually huge for how he can engage with his ultimate. Obviously looking for bindings too. A little bit more vulnerable.
Problem is that all that Pabu's going to have to actually get into this fight is going to be just a running in with the Predator here. And Nanosec overstepping here. Biopanda needs to be destroyed now. Here he is. No Man's over the wall with it. And Prey coming in with the flower. And Santa's going to get chased down as well here, but Pentanet with their team fighting are just too good. 3 down. And that's going to be the jungler with an Nanosec just having stepped too far forward, and that's going to be Baron for Pentanet.
You're looking for, but your composition certainly has that burst where it counts. And this is a 7-0-2 now. Paredes, who actually has his Immortal Shield, has got his Collector. You have the ability to get those executions in the team fight. This is what Samira is great at. This is the type of team fight that Samira is always looking for. It's the dream for a Samira. You don't always see those, you know.
Loader gonna salvage what they can and go ahead and take the Ocean Drake. So keeping the Drake score even. And they just choose to try to jump onto Biopanther. He's gonna get killed by the end of this, but Samira is just gonna be able to get
for free, press his ultimate button, and then he's able to clean up house. I mean, nobody's on him until it's too late. Yeah, I mean, a fed Samira who has a hard engaged support, who, by the way, the decoy got the two guys in the front and just locked them up for way
looking good, looking excited there out of Prey.
Of course, because of the black shield.
4,300.
The Morgana from the jungle farms really well.
Almost twice what even the next one, the top damage out of Unicorns.
That you want to. It's pretty insane what this champion does offer right now to the Legends. Still 10 for 10, Babu, in this game.
Oh, looking for the Graves. That was the Shirelias out from
by the look of things for
decoy.
At every moment.
Oh boy, threatening the dive.
To be able to fight correctly in some of these straight up 5v5s. Yeah. So we're going to go with Red Bull power play here. Red Bull Baron power play, that is to say. Let's see what they can get done, because Pablo has been so good at setting up these bindings, forcing Unicorns of Love to react, sometimes forcing out summoner spells. And here he is again, you know, with relative impunity, tossing out these bindings. You get one of those, you get a pick, and then suddenly the whole game's opened up when you have this Baron. Yeah, I love how Pentanet GG come into this fight. And they're down
it's going to be a route there onto an Nanosec. It's going to be fourth tower, so actually evening up the tower score. Pentanet with the 2k gold, but I think that only really comes from their kills. Otherwise, the map control and the structural elements have been pretty even here. Nanosec going to step a little too far forward here. Pabu's going to root him up here and swing the 2 minutes throw, but Pabu's going to have to just flash over because they're about to get caught here. Boss thinking about
is going to escort
going in.
The jungle. Yeah, it looks a little bit awkward there. Probably saw an opportunity to try to ult, but unfortunately Biopanther and Chaz are not here. You're not going to want to take that fight there, isolated as 3. So he flashes. Again, you know, last time he used his flash, I thought, okay, well, it's going to limit his options, but he's still been where he needs to be at every single time. So he's becoming a lot more survivable with this build that he's going for. He's going to have his Zonias eventually, which is going to be really strong, obviously, for some of the engages. And it feels like with this player, he's got such a good sense of where to be and when the fight is going to happen and where he can set up for these bindings. He's always on the cusp of getting caught, getting picked, but he's tossing the bindings out, gets away safe. In this case, even flashes away. And yeah, it was a misplay, and he does lose his flash, but that kind of proactive play is maybe going to win you this game if you're Pentanet GG. 10 for 10 on the assists, and this Baron fades away. Unicorns of Love grouping up.
So that's not the greatest power play.
Trying to clear out some of the vision that has been put down in their jungle at this point. This game very much
still close, still 2k gold difference in the favor of Pabu, but the Lee Sin falling off and No Man's Victor coming online. We're getting to that point, nearly at 30 minutes here, 26 and a half.
And if Unicorns of Love get a fight on their terms,
2 items completed for the victor.
They can absolutely take a fight here. Both teams have 2 dragons, right? Yeah. I feel like really anything can happen at this point in time, and it'll be interesting to see who is going to run away with this one. It's as close as you can ask for, right? I mean, we're really on a knife's edge, and this next Drake fight might really be what shoves one of these teams off the edge. Because, again, the sustained damage, the poke for Unicorns of Love is fantastic, but the engage tools and the burst damage that the Samira shouldn't be able to have, right? It's very rare to see this, a 7-0-2 Samira. Does mean the Pentanet GG, if they get the fight on their terms.
Yeah, that's the greatest disparity. Samira needs to get shut down somehow.
Have some burst potential, so I mean, this is really anyone's game to take. These are the close games we've been waiting for. We haven't always gotten in the group stage of MSI, but we're getting there right now.
Oh, big chunk onto Prey. That's the start you're looking for there. Prey doesn't get to start the map. Now get to start the fight. The Honeyfruit's gonna save him. Let's get him lower. Decent poke onto Pablo, but they're going to be able to find No Man's here. No Man's taking a greedy path, and he's just going to get find out here. And there comes there's the best DPS option Unicorns of Love had, and that's going to be third Drake going over to Pentanet.
Yeah, you cannot fight without your Victor. I mean, he is going to be the major source of damage. He's who Pentanet GG target down and eliminate early on. I mean, how Victor is played at the highest level, you're often walking a tightrope because you want to maximize your damage, but you have to position yourself for maximum safety too. And he ends up getting caught and picked, and that's the end of team fight potential here for Unicorns of Love. Meanwhile, you can see Pablo is just taking this by himself. They're not just going to get a Drake, they're going to get a turret too, they're going to get mid-control.
Yeah, it's really great to see, and I mean, you look at the battlefield that was just fought there. There's only vision for Pentanet. There's nothing for the side of Unicorns. So as you mentioned, you kind of got to be careful when you are running through some of that vision where you're not sure if the enemy does have that vision.
No Man's top side putting it in.
To the top lane. Yeah, they want to push this
so
hard.
5 to 4 turrets taken. All that's left for Unicorns of Love to take is going to be the mid and bot tier 2s.
And you know, for Unicorns of Love,
I cannot think this morning.
Really tough spot because
this is super rough, guys. It just is. Is up to almost 1. Wakes up at 7. 6 hours of sleep.
You can't let that go anymore. They have map control very strongly. Look at the wards across the map right now.
I'm really glad I just
you know, you're
go
in a situation where you're
take a nap, go back to sleep after this game.
Caught, and you know, stuff like this is very risky given the circumstances. You end up getting caught here as nomads, and that might actually cost you the game. So you have to play passively. And Pentanet GG are very much happy to sit back and wait for that next objective. Might just be the Baron fight we're looking at here for them. If they take that swimmingly, it might just be the game.
And the Baron comes up here, and I thought maybe Unicorns would have done something crazy and run at it, but not going to go for that just yet. Just going to sit here in the mid lane, potentially look for some picks. And you look at the tools that they have in their toolkit here, the champions that they did bring into this fight. I mean, you think about the Galio, and it's like, yeah, I mean, he's got some potential for engage, the Udyr as well, but it's a couple of champions that just need to run straight at you and kind of make it happen unless you get a crazy Galio play from out of vision. But as you mentioned, they don't really have vision control right now. Udyr's not just going to run at you and get an engage going. So it does feel like the ball is in Pentanet GG's court, and they're doing a great job with it. It's really, really nice to see them play from ahead because we haven't really got to see that too much so far here in this MSI, and I'm liking what I'm seeing so far.
Yeah, I think it was...
looks like we're under catch here, boss. Gonna have to go on in. Biopanther's about to go Mega Gnar here. He's gonna have to find his mobility to get in, but I don't think that option's going to be there. Nice Shock Blast from Boss onto Pabu and company here. Natisik going in for it, but I don't think the rest of the team's there. And Biopanther looking for the Gnar knock up. Santas and Decoy on the backside. Lodic is gonna be taken out here, but Prey is going to get a triple kill off of that. And this Samira carrying Pentanet's hopes of actually upsetting expectation, and it's probably going to be game here. They're going to tie up the scoreline between UOL and PGG. And both going to be 1 and 3 going into the end of the group stage.
They're both going to be tied up 1 and 3. And Valdez, this is our closest game so far here of the night. I'm hoping for more. But what a fantastic performance from Pabu in the jungle. 15 for 15 on the kills there.
So there's that.
Involvement.
Not the best casting or hype, but
the kind of game you're looking for
what you got.